Broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey personality, number one best-selling author. My daughter is my co-host today. She's also the co-host of George Camel, who is a big star this week on Smart Money Happy Hour. But George's new YouTube channel launched, and he's a big deal now. I know. He's diversifying the love on the internet. He's doing other stuff now. So well, that's a nice way of saying he abandoned you. I felt a little bit. No, it's great. I really am. It's such a great channel. He's done such a good job with it. So the George Camel new YouTube channel. Yeah, you need to check it out. So Camel good. With a K, and check out Smart Money Happy Hour. Anyway, the phone number here, if you want to talk, is free, and some say the advice is worth exactly what you pay for it. 888-825-5225. Thank you for jumping in. John's going to start this hour in Oklahoma City. Hey, John, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave and Rachel. Thanks so much for taking my call. I'm a big fan of the show. My question for you guys today is about the adjusted gross income limits, the income limit to be able to contribute to the Roth IRA. Mm-hmm. So in 2022, my wife and I already contributed like our $6,000 each, a couple months ago toward the 2022 year. However, we just filed our taxes with our tax guy yesterday and learned that we made just over the adjusted gross income limit, apparently, which I think is $214 for 2022, and apparently we made $215,000. So
I hate it when you make too much money. That happens all the time. Gosh, he missed it by $1,000 though. It's like, man, right there. Yeah, you're okay. You're just going to have to do some gymnastics. Okay. Are you working with a SmartVestor Pro or with a good investment broker that's helping you do this?
No, sir.
Okay. Reach out to one of our SmartVestor Pros. You're going to have to undo the Roth that you did because you don't qualify for a Roth, and so that's going to get backed out. Okay. And then you make an investment. You need to do what's called a backdoor Roth, but you can't do it from where you are. So you got to back out from where you are back to even. Okay. Now, a backdoor Roth, I do them, and my income is more than that. So a backdoor Roth is where you make an after-tax traditional IRA contribution, which is very weird. Okay. And then instantaneously, 30 seconds later, roll it to a Roth. There's no taxes due when you do that, but you're not allowed to put money into a Roth, but you're allowed to roll money into a Roth regardless of your income. And so what we're doing is we're opening up an after-tax, which Roth is after-tax as well. We're doing an after-tax traditional, and you roll it to a Roth 30 seconds later. So now you've got the money into a Roth. And your SmartVestor Pro at RamseySolutions.com, find somebody in your area you like that can help you back out of the one you're in and then set up the after-tax and do the backdoor rollover. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think I'm following you, and I can talk with the SmartVestor Pro about other questions.
Yeah, and I feel like, too, that whole idea of the backdoor Roth is something that I feel like a lot of people don't realize, and they don't even know is an option either. So that's why I think having someone in your corner, an investment professional in general, is such a great idea because they know these types of things, and even more of like, hey, what can we do from an estate level planning to your future to retirement, everything. What's best to be able to take advantage of these things that you may not even know, John, and frankly, most people don't. I mean, there's the idea of a backdoor Roth. Some people have never even heard of it. So exactly, it's technically a loophole. One of these days, they're going to write into one of these laws and close it. It's technically a loophole because the very purpose of having the limits is to keep wealthy people from having a Roth, because wealthy people are supposed to be punished in America. So that's who we are now. Anyway, that's tax law. So that's the thing. So Rachel's exactly right. It's always good to get a SmartVestor Pro, at least someone like that in your corner. And here's what you're looking for to remind you folks out there, because we got a lot of new people. When you're hiring a SmartVestor Pro, you're always looking for someone that does not have the heart of a salesman. Instead, they have the heart of a teacher. Yeah. Because you do not need to do things with your money because Rachel said to do them with your money, or Dave said to do them with your money, or some goober in a suit at an investment place said to do them with your money. It's your freaking money. And the number of times you have more money than the person you're talking to is not that unusual.
Well, and I think what's hard with investing specifically, because I even felt this way when Winston and I first were looking at retirement and all of that, it can be so intimidating because there's terms, there's, even having to follow a map of like, okay, this to that, and what is that again? I'm confused here. I mean, it's just you're learning a whole new set of knowledge. For most people, it's a whole new set of knowledge. So to have somebody who's a professional sitting on the other end of the desk, that you feel like, okay, you're actually a person I can talk to, and I don't feel stupid. I can ask questions.
Their job is to educate you.
Is to teach you this.
Not to wag their finger, and you should do it just because they said.
That's right. And a big part of learning, though, is getting your questions answered and learning so much, we say, to the point that when you walk out of that building, that you could explain to a fifth grader what you just did with your money. Like you need the basic knowledge, the overall knowledge of what happened. And again, people don't do that in the investment world. They sit across from somebody, they're intimidated, this person's saying this, and that, and they just say, sure, that sounds great.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I trust you, go, do. And that's not the way.
That's a bad idea. Let me tell you what that gives you. It gives you, when you trust somebody, you just throw it across, and you don't know what the flip's going on, two things are going to happen to you in your life. One is, every time you hear bad news about the economy and the stock market on the news, you're going to freak out because you don't know what the flip is going on. Number two, you're going to get conned. You very seldom get screwed on things you understand, but you'll get screwed and conned. And let me tell you, more often than not, someone that's going to mess you over and screw you over is not an actual con artist. They're just stupid. And they're enthusiastic ignoramuses. And they've talked themselves into it, and then they talk you into it because somebody talked them into it. And that's all it is. And nobody in the whole chain decided to stop and go, how the flip does this really work anyway?
That's a good point, because ignorance is as dangerous as a con artist, because you're like, oh my gosh, if they really don't understand or know what they're doing on that end, or they got sold some idea or some product and they're trying to get you in it.
Yeah, I'm convinced that a lot of people that sell whole life insurance are that.
They really believe it, that it's great. Yeah,
and they're just ignorant. Mm-hmm. They're just enthusiastic ignoramuses. And that they don't last. I mean, 90-something% of the people sell whole life are gone they don't even last 1 year in the business. Because once they start figuring out that the stuff is as bad as it is, people with honor and integrity won't sell it. But boy, buddy, they get all fired up about it. And open up a Tic Tac account. There you go. This is The Ramsey Show. If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Go to Blinds.com now and save 45% off selected products. Visit Blinds.com today for more info. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author many times over, co-host of the Smart Money Happy Hour. My daughter is my co-host today. Hey, when folks are calling us for advice on their money, you can hear how worn down they are sometimes. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you feel like you're getting your teeth kicked in. Been there, done that. Sometimes your family's falling apart, you're stuck in a cycle, and the worst part is you don't think there's any way out. Well, you do not have to accept that. It does not have to be that way. I know it's scary, and I know you've had the crap beat out of you. Me too. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. And sometimes it's your fault. I know what that feels like. I've got a PhD in DUMB. I know what it looks like to do stupid with zeros on the end. I've done it. But we're going to do something special for you. Or maybe you know someone that's like that. Or maybe you know somebody who's just kind of hovering around the edges of this common sense Ramsey stuff. This Saturday, we're doing a free live stream from our Smart Conference weekend. Now, the Smart Conference is sold out. So just go ahead and get your FOMO going. You missed it. But we're going to stream for free the first couple of hours and hear me speak briefly, and Rachel Cruz and George Camel both are going to do their talk about how to get your income up, control your spending, change your mindset. Sign up for free at RamseySolutions.com/live. Rachel, give them a little preview. What are you going to be talking about at Smart Conference?
I know, so it's just George and I's talk.
Right.
Because we have other keynotes throughout the whole day. So
yes.
It's just the morning. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm talking about the 4 lies that our culture, our society believes about money. So it's everything from the stuff you hear, with debt and all that, but also your identity and how much that is placed. That scorecard is so huge in America about your number, right? Whether it's your income and what you make, how much money you have, like it has become this identity where your net worth has become your self-worth. And so kind of unpacking that and how do you look at money in a healthy way, that's one of the lies. Talking about that you're not supposed to do this alone. And again, so much of our world applauds independence, and there's like a healthy level of independence, but then also you can become so isolated because you're so independent doing your own thing versus bringing people in and living in community. And John Deloney talks a lot about friendships and relationships and how key that is to having a holistic life. So that obviously plays into your money too. So we could talk about that. So it's a really fun talk. I'm really excited about it. 30 minutes.
It's a great talk.
It's going to be great.
So George Camel, Rachel Cruz, both talking and teaching money first thing in the morning on Saturday morning, this coming Saturday, day after tomorrow, the sold-out Smart Conference. You can join for free for the first 2 lessons. The first 2 lessons on Saturday morning anyway. Just jump in at RamseySolutions.com/free, and you can register.
/events.
/events. Or live.
It is free.
No,
Whoa,
it's
don't
live.
hit that mic.
It's live.
Are you sure? It says, okay.
Yeah,
I'm looking at a monitor over there.
Okay. That says /live. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I dropped my copy, but there we go.
/live.
We got
Did
lots
you
of
throw it
places.
away?
Figure it out. It's at RamseySolutions.com. But /live
just
is what the
Google,
copy says. So, yeah.
I'm sure it'll come up.
Don't miss this live stream and spread the word. Put it out on your social. Tell people. It's completely freaking free. So if you don't like it, just turn it off. But you're going to love it. All right. Lisa is with us. Lisa is in Jacksonville, Florida. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Well, thank you, Dave. Good afternoon. How are you guys?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So my husband and I, we have a blended family. He has 2 children from a previous marriage, and I have 4 children from a previous marriage and 3 grandchildren. Of late, each of the children, for various reasons and in different circumstances, have gotten themselves into a situation where they need help, which is understandable. The last of the brood are 17-year-old twins who will be graduating high school this year, and the oldest would be my 31-year-old daughter and her 3 children. And so we've got everything in between. We're trying to figure out where to draw the line to help them and not enable them. I don't believe that money is the answer to everything. That's just not how I view money. And I don't want them to think that either. And we are certainly not independently wealthy. We work very hard for what we have.
So what was the last request that spurred this call? Hello?
I'm sorry?
What was the last request from a kid that spurred this call?
Well, my second oldest daughter, who was 21, got into some trouble at school. and it looks like there's going to need to be money paid out. And my oldest daughter got into an automobile accident where the car was totaled, and then she had to admit to me that not only was she behind on the car payments, but did not pay the insurance.
Okay, your youngest getting criminal or your middle one criminal activity?
Misdemeanor. Yep, she got in trouble, and it looks like there may be some restitution that might be being requested. She's a junior in college.
Like how much?
Undetermined. I really won't know anything.
Well,
until
10,000, 1,000.
I'm going to say maybe 5.
Okay.
Lisa, my knee jerk is, which granted I have 3 little ones at home, and I'm realizing after you experience parenting, you have different opinions on stuff. So Rachel in 10 years may have a different opinion, Lisa. I'm going to humbly say that. So to me, the 21-year-old, are they still under you financially? Your daughter, are you guys paying for school? Are you helping her out, or is she completely independent financially?
She is not completely independent. With all of my children, I've tried to follow the same protocol. As soon as she turned 18, I had the cell phone put into her name. She pays for that. I just turned over the vehicle that I was allowing her to drive in her name. Within the last 2 or 3 months, I put the insurance in her name, and she pays that. If she needs help with her bills, she knows that she can come to me, and I'm willing to help out because I know that school is becoming more taxing.
Sure.
But it's part of being an adult, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because for the 21-year-old with a whole criminal thing, and you're a junior in college, all of that, for some reason I have, as a parent, I feel the need to step into that situation faster than I would the 31-year-old in the car payment and the insurance. Because to me, I'm like, why on both of these is always the question I want to ask. So, for the junior and college, so there's obviously there's choices that are being made in life that are not wise. So there's a big thing there. That's not necessarily a money issue. It's become a money issue because she may have to pay $5,000 or whatever it may be. So you helping pay the financial side of that while walking with her through life and saying, hey, how can I walk beside you as your mom and love you well and understand what caused the situation? Like, that's one thing for me. The 31-year-old, I'm like, okay, so then why are you behind on your car payment? Why are you behind on your insurance? Because that's an adult problem. Like, that's an adult problem. Like, you didn't pay something that you're supposed to be paying. And so why is that? Is it because you don't have the money? Is it because you're not keeping up with payments and all that? So asking that why question is really big for me, Lisa, to understand, am I enabling or am I helping? But that 21-year-old, for some reason, my heart was just like, whew, that's not a money problem. Yes, it's become a money problem, but there's life choices that are occurring there that I would want to step into fast.
The level of help that we would extend would be based on really 2 things. How repentant are they? And repentance means turning away. So we were walking towards stupid, or we were running towards stupid. We not only stopped, but now we're running the other way. That is repentance. I'm never going to do this again. I'm completely changing whatever behavior that caused this in either of these cases, and I'm running the other way. I just need some help this one time to turn the corner. That is repentance. If that is not there in spades, I mean like enthusiastic repentance, just let them bathe in it. Let them bathe in the pain. If that is there, and then you can figure out how you can, on a one-time basis, help them move towards smart from dumb with a little bit of cash on a one-time basis, then that's good. Where we just continually are bailing them out, that's enabling. Or where you're bailing out someone who's not repentant, then you want good things for them more than they do.
And only, Lisa, if you guys have the money. You said we're not financially...
Yeah,
well,
only if you have the cash.
If you don't have the cash, you can't help.
You can't help.
So,
You just, sorry.
Just that.
Sorry. Yeah. Nope. This is The Ramsey Show. We've been doing business at Ramsey for more than 30 years. By now, we're a well-oiled machine, but it wasn't always that way. Yes, we've always had a vision, always had determination, and a drive to help people. But what we didn't have was one central place to access all our numbers so that we could get further ahead or quickly see when we needed to pivot. We were always jumping back and forth between different systems and spreadsheets. So when NetSuite by Oracle helped us wrangle our revenue, inventory, expenses, and more into one place, it was a game changer. And NetSuite's #1 cloud financial system can help your business gain the same visibility, because businesses thrive on timely data. And NetSuite's real-time analytics can help your business have immediate access to your numbers daily, so you always know where you stand and you can move quickly. So go to netsuite.com/Ramsey today and set up a free product tour. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host. It is Financial Literacy Month, and we're celebrating the incredible work of incredible teachers that help us with foundations in personal finance and all the work they're doing. Our Foundations in Personal Finance curriculum for high schoolers, teaching them common sense about money, is now in 48% of the high schools. That means there's 52% that don't have it. That's a problem, because everyone should be learning this stuff. We have one of our foundations. Financial literacy is an important subject. We don't talk about it with our kids enough. That's why we created this Foundations of Personal Finance curriculum. It's now been taught, as I said, in 48% of the high schools. Over 6 million students have now been through this. We've got one of the Foundation's teachers on the show with us today to celebrate this month. Orlando is a teacher in Memphis, Tennessee. Hey, Orlando, how are you?
Dave, I'm doing great. It was great to talk to you. All my students are excited that I'm talking to Uncle Dave and the Rachel Cruz today.
Uncle Dave and Cousin Rachel. There we go.
There you go.
I love it. So what school do you teach at, Orlando?
So I teach at Memphis University School right here in Memphis, Tennessee, not far down the road from you. We're a private high school of about roughly 700 kids, college preparatory school, big academic excellence, good athletics, and just always teaching the boys how to do right here.
Very cool. So it's a boys' school? It's all males?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Love it. That's interesting. All right. So how long have you been teaching Foundations?
The literal curriculum that you have put out, we've only done really for the last 3 years. One of our great alumni decided to donate it to the school. But, Dave, I've been teaching principals for at least the last 10 years here at the school. I've listened to the show for a lot of years, and to be honest with you, I've memorized pretty much all of your lines and all of your curriculum. And so we've had it in some way, shape, or form for about the last 10 years, and the kids absolutely love it.
That's so great. So, Orlando, if it's been over a decade of teaching just the principles in general, do you have students that come back after they graduate or they go to college or even after college and they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, what you talked about with money in our class, I used it, and there's like success stories around it?
Son, who's 24 now, really took to it, and he started his own financial blog. It's a financial literacy blog. And what was funny about his first post in it was, I had to sit there and listen to unsolicited lectures about Dave Ramsey's principles, but it finally took, and he's on path to being a millionaire. And one of my best success stories, a young man named J.J. Johnson, currently a senior at Vanderbilt. He had been at one of my summer camps. I work with a group called Rising Together Foundations. And what I do is financial literacy for young kids. JJ was a counselor, sat there, listened to it, and took the knowledge and said, man, I got to do something at Vanderbilt. Got together with a couple of his friends, Gabby Martin and Kevin West, and they started money readers right there at Vanderbilt, because he saw Vanderbilt students just taking loans left and right, not knowing how to manage their money and not understanding compound interest. So JJ got together with them and started that group. And I get young people all the time, alums, calling me. A lot of times they're asking advice. Hey, I'm getting ready to open a Roth IRA. What do you think?
That's amazing.
I always tell
very
kids,
cool.
I'm like a doctor. I'm on call. Just call me. I'm ready to go to talk to you.
I love
You're
it.
a good teacher. That's amazing.
Now, you are a great teacher.
Thank you.
We need people
I
like you
appreciate
all over the place in America. Thank you for doing this. And
Absolutely.
it's
My pleasure.
yeah, it's more of a thankless job than it used to be a teacher these days, and it shouldn't be. So we admire you. We appreciate you, all of you that are teachers. It's an incredible calling. Okay, so you're in the classroom with juniors and seniors, and you're going through the Ramsey Personal Finance Foundation's curriculum. What's the number one question you get from the kids?
Okay, so it's a million of them, but what it is, Dave, that they love, and you do it all the time, is the power of the compound interest. If you'll allow me, I'm going to give you a quick example. I did this the other day. I do the car example, and they love to see the car example. One guy purchases a brand new car in America right now. It's $49,500. If he has good credit, it's about 9%, 72 months. That's $900 a month. You're going to pay $64,000. It's going to be worth about $18,000 after 7 years. That's a $46,000 loss. Then I take guy B and say he drove Uber, delivered pizzas, scraped together $2,000. He takes the same $900 payment. Now, he's not going to be able to put all of it into a mutual fund, obviously, because he needs a sync fund for repairs. I know this because I've done it before. $200 a month for the sync fund for repairs, $300 a month to replace the car in 2 years. You'll have $7,000 to replace it in 2 years, and another $7,000 to replace it. So, and then the other $400 goes into a mutual fund that outperforms the S&P. Now you got a $52,000 gain versus a $46,000 loss. Now, in my math, that's a $100,000 opportunity cost going to the guy that bought the $2,000 car. And the main difference between the two of them, the only other difference, one looked good at a stoplight. So when they see that math, they go nuts. And they're like, Mr. McKay, tell us the next thing, because that's amazing. I want to see the next way that I can get compound interest working for me.
Yeah, that's
and Dave,
powerful.
your numbers work because I've done them in my own life.
Yeah.
And I'm on pace for millionaire status, even though I didn't start doing your stuff till I was 40.
Wow.
So the stuff works, and the kids love it because they know it works.
Orlando, thank you. Thank you for being who you are, for being the kind of man you are, the kind of teacher you are, and thank you for teaching the Foundations in Personal Finance curriculum. You're a hero, man. You're absolutely amazing.
And I think what's so refreshing about doing the high school, even that example of using a brand new car versus, a $2,000 car, is high school students, it's almost like they haven't been persuaded in culture and in life. Brainwashed into believing, again, that it's like, oh my gosh, if I have a great car, I have to have a great car. There's something about the car that is such an identity piece to us as adults, and they haven't experienced that yet. So it's almost like this purity that they're looking at these numbers, because they're like, they haven't felt that pressure in a really deep way, besides as much as teenagers compare, which I know they do, but in a really deep way. So I'm like, it's so fun to hear 16, 17-year-olds be like, oh, yeah, well, of course, before they're tainted with the idea that, like, no, you have to have a nice car. You have to have a great car. You have to have a great car. And that's part of your quote unquote success. So it just shows that they are sponges. And these high schoolers, they are getting it. Winston and I were downtown last night for this concert event thing. And we were in the parking garage, and this young girl, she probably was college or early 20s. And yeah, she stopped me and she was like, I took your personal finance class. Oh my gosh, so she was just telling me how great it was. She's like, I still use this stuff today. And I was like, oh, that's so great. So
wow, that's cool.
So they're just sponges. I'm like, so parents out there, that's encouragement to you to start, if you're not, talking to your kids, talking to your teenagers about money.
And some of you businesses in the areas, you could do what that guy
teachers,
did.
yes.
A local entrepreneur sponsored that class, paid for it for that high school to get this class.
And get it in the classrooms.
And man, you talk about investing. That's good investing right there. That's awesome stuff. So we're celebrating, as we said, the Financial Literacy Month. We do this with a teacher appreciation giveaway. If you are a in-class teacher of any kind, I don't care if you teach kindergarten through K through 12, if you teach in a class, you're a teacher. We want you to enter the Ramsey Teacher Appreciation Giveaway. No purchase is necessary. Sponsored by the Army National Guard. One teacher randomly is going to be drawn and will win a $5,000 vacation of your choice. We're going to write a check of $5,000 to whoever you say you want to go on vacation with. And 2 more teachers are going to win $3,000 vacations each. Because Lord knows a good teacher needs a vacation. So there we go. Check it out. Go to RamseySolutions.com/teacher to enter. If you're not a teacher and you love one that you had as a student, or maybe you're married to a teacher, or maybe your brother or sister is a teacher, or whatever, tell them to go to RamseySolutions.com/teacher to enter. This will end at the end of the month. April is Financial Literacy Month. This is our Teacher Appreciation Giveaway, brought to you by the Army National Guard. Very cool stuff. These teachers are amazing. They're amazing, and we need to salute them. We need to back them. We need to support them. And this is just one little way we can do it here at Ramsey. This is The Ramsey Show. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey personality. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Sean is with us in Washington, D.C. Hey, Sean, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave and Rachel. Thanks for taking my call. I actually have a 2-part question related to how military retirement and VA disability factor into retirement savings.
Okay.
And just a little background. My wife and I are both retired military. We're debt-free, and we're on baby steps 4 and 6. We have, between our military retirement pensions and our VA disability, it's about $110,000 a year. Mm-hmm. And then we both currently work and bring in an additional $125,000 in income from those jobs.
Wonderful.
So our assumption has been that we invest 15% of that retirement and VA disability, even though it's quote unquote a pension. Mm-hmm. So that was my first question. Is that correct according to the baby steps?
Well, I mean, the purpose of baby step 4, putting 15% away for retirement, is to build wealth.
Right.
And so obviously, the more you put in the build wealth category, the more wealth there's going to be. So okay. I would tend towards agreeing with you, in other words, because I want you to build a big old hairy nest egg, and you have a great income. I don't know why you couldn't save. I mean, you make $250,000 between all of these sources, and I don't know why you couldn't save $30,000 or $40,000. You should be able to, and you're going to want that. It's not as if you need it to eat. It's just a matter of building wealth at this point to be able to change your family tree, to be generous, to enjoy, and those kinds of things. But this is not if you don't save, you're going to be eating dog food at retirement, because you're not. I mean, you've served your country. Thank you for that. And your country is giving you a wonderful military retirement. Good. We should. And, you guys served, and that's the deal you made. And so, yeah, that's good. And then you got the extra income on top of that. I would save out of everything 15%. Okay. Because when we get to baby step 7 and the house is paid off, we don't have a 15% rule then. We say, save all you can, invest all you can, give all you can, and live all you can. We want to load it all up.
And so that leads me to the second part of my question is there ever a time, this income, the VA disability and military retirement are essentially until we pass away. Mm-hmm. Is there ever a time where we say we don't need to invest it anymore, or once we're retired and enjoying our retirement life, do we stop, or do we keep going forever?
I don't think you're going to need it.
Okay.
I mean, you again, you know, you're going to have a pile of money. You're going to have these wonderful retirement benefits, and you can continue to invest. Now, if you do not have an earned income, meaning all you have is military retirement and disability, you cannot do 401ks and Roth IRAs. You have to have an earned income to do those. So at that point, you'd be limited on that. But could you just put it in mutual funds? Sure, you could. I just don't think it's ever going to be a thing where you're ever having to make a choice between a good life and continuing to invest. I think both of those are going to coexist because you've done a wonderful job.
Yeah, our dog, he heard me just mention money and he ran off because I don't say we're gazelle intense now on paying off the house, but we're definitely white-tailed deer intense. So we're working hard to get our house paid off so we can get so we can really get into 7.
I think that's accurate. I've seen both in the wild, fair. And white-tailed deer are definitely a lazier gazelle.
But they're so fast.
they can go, but Sean, not like a gazelle.
Sean, thanks for your service.
That's very cool.
You and your family, we appreciate you.
Asher's in Oklahoma City. Hey, Asher, what's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So pretty much I'm trying to decide if I want to do step 3B to save for a house or if I should start 4, which I already did, and then save on top of that.
So when are you looking to move? When do you want to buy a house?
Well, I'm renting right now.
I know. Do you?
So I'm not looking.
Are you in a position?
I can afford it, I guess.
Yeah. Are you in a position, meaning life stage wise, that you're going to be staying in Oklahoma City for a bit? Do you see yourself being there permanently for multiple years?
At least for the foreseeable future. Yeah.
Okay.
When do you want to buy?
When I can. So
when do you think you're actually going to be ready to buy? What's your plan?
Well, I crunched the numbers, and it would take about 5.5 to 6 years if I didn't do baby step 4 at all.
To save up 5%?
To save up enough to send a quarter of my take home and a 15-year fix.
What do you make?
67 base.
What do you make?
I made 77 last year.
Okay. Are you married?
Nope.
Okay. Why is it going to take you 6 years to save up a down payment? That's ridiculous.
$185,000 house so I did my numbers on, and to be able to keep it under a quarter of my take home, I would need to save up like $100K.
No, you must have done something wrong. That doesn't work. You can afford more than an $85,000 mortgage on a 15-year fixed at a quarter of your take home when you make $75,000 or $80,000 a year. So you messed up something on the math, dude. And so that changes the formula. So I think what you got to do is what I might do is just holler at Churchill Mortgage and start talking to them about how this is going to work, exactly what you've got to do, get some real numbers. And if your take home, if you got a bunch of crap coming out of your check other than taxes, that's not what we mean by take home pay. What we mean by take home pay is after tax. Okay, so if you've got like an $800 health insurance thing or child support or a car payment going to your credit union or something like that, and you're calling that take-home pay, then that might mess up the numbers. Mm-hmm. But with what you make, you can qualify for more than you're talking about. And so then what you've got to do is you've got to, because we're at a 6% rate right now, roughly, is where we're hovering right now on fixed rates on a 15-year.
Yeah.
And so
6.8.
No, just
break. I was just running his numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
Property tax, everything. So
I had 6.3 at the beginning of the week. Maybe it jumped up. But anyway, that's but right in there. And the point here is that you get your numbers right, and then you start figuring out how you're going to do your down payment. But dude, you do not have to have $100,000 down on a $185,000 house. That's just not. That is not going to be where you end up.
No, because this is even saying, because we say for first-time home buyers, too, that, the range really is from 5 to 20% is kind of like that ideal. 20% is great to avoid PMI. But if you're a first-time home buyer, it can be as low as 5%. Now, don't quote me on this. I just pulled up a mortgage calculator real fast. It's looking like a down pay for a 15-year.
No, not the down payment, the payment. He was concerned about getting the payment low enough that it was a fourth of his take-home pay. Yeah,
but his monthly, it would be a $1,600 a $1,600 payment.
On what? 185 grand?
On 175 is
On
what I put in, and a
175,
down
yeah.
payment's $8,750, 5%. I mean, so
But you
I would
can,
run
but
those.
he's going to have to put down more than that because 1,600 is going to be more than a fourth of his take home
come
pay
pay.
on 7,700.
Yeah.
So that's not what I'm talking about. But it's not going to be $100,000 down either.
Right.
To get the payment down low enough. So you may have to have 30 down or 40 down or something like that. And
truth is,
during this
though-
time, Asher, your income's going to be coming up.
Yes, over those years. That's such a good point. But I will say, because people, they do get frustrated with our house formula, saying that it's very conservative. There's, when you run the numbers.
For 30
it's not-
years, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying.
No,
and
for
then,
30 years they've been frustrated.
No, I know. I felt it as a wee child that they've been frustrated. I know. But the why behind it, though, is what ends up happening is that home ownership, the quote unquote American dream, robs so many people from their income that you pay so much out on a mortgage that you don't have the margin to invest and to give and to save and to do all these other things with your money because so much of it goes to the mortgage. So that's one of the whys.
Just because you're pissed about interest rates, or you're pissed about house prices, or you're pissed about Dave Ramsey, none of those things give you a pass on math. Math will still kick your butt. So you don't get a pass. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Rachel Cruz. If you love this show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Just go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios. It's The Ramsey Show, where people build wealth, where we help people build wealth, and people do build wealth. And we help them with their work, and we help them with their relationships. Open phone 0888-825-5225. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author. My daughter is my co-host today. 888-825-5225. Smart Conference is this weekend here on the Ramsey campuses in our brand new Ramsey Events Center. It is the first public event, completely sold out. There'll be about 3,000 of our closest friends hanging out with us all weekend. It starts tomorrow night. And prior to tomorrow, at 6 o'clock, our time in Nashville, it's sold out, as I said. But we are going to broadcast this show from 1 to 4 Central Time from the stage of the Ramsey Event Center, which is a bit of a trip. I was up there doing the sound check, and it's an interesting process we've got here. But we're going to be doing this show for 3 hours from the stage. We've lots of people have gotten the tickets. They're free to come in. And I think there may be a few more for those of you out in the lobby if you want to come watch the show in the event center tomorrow. But let's say you're out of town or you're like doing something else. You don't want to come over here to this campus or whatever. It's going to be on YouTube live, straight up, straight through. And so you'll get to see what the event
because normally it's delayed YouTube, right? It's
Exactly.
delayed by a little bit, but
exactly, and you're going to get to see the interior of the event center and the staging and all that stuff. So tune in if you don't normally tune in live. Tune in from 1 to 4 Central tomorrow. We will be live streaming the Ramsey Show on everything, but certainly the best way if you want to pick it up for free is on YouTube, and we'd love to have you come and join us. Daniela is with us in Dallas. Hi, Daniela. How are you?
Hey, Dave. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm so grateful to be on today.
Well, honored to have you. How can we help?
Yes. So I'm wondering if I should sell my condo because the HOA is really high. It's $650, and I live in Dallas, Texas. And I wonder if I should sell it and just pay off the rest of my debt.
Wow. Why is the HOA so high?
I have no idea.
Okay. What's the condo worth?
I think Zillow says it's worth $250, and I owe $122,000 on it.
Okay, I'm as a homeowner. If I'm you, I am. By the end of the day, I want some information from these people.
what they're doing with the money.
Yeah, that's asinine. What is going on? A $250,000 condo with a $650. I mean, that sounds like a $2 million property or a $3 million.
Right,
property.
exactly. And it's like, I'm in Texas. Like, what's going on?
Well, I mean, you could do it. Stupid's in Texas too, but you know, I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to find out what's under this. And you know, did they jack it? How long have you been there?
Since 2018. So I started out with $450, and then it just literally went up like $100 every year. So now we're at $650. And so they used to have these like assessments that we would pay every other month. So now they just tacked it all together every month.
Every month.
Right. So now there's no.
Have they were they doing a major renovation, like parking lot replacement or roof replacement or something?
That's the thing. I haven't seen anything happen, and like the residents are really complaining about it. People are trying to like run for office. So I'm not the only one concerned about it. It's just at this point, I just feel like these years people have been complaining, nothing has happened. So I'm like, I don't even own the land. Like, is it worth continuously, you know, owning this condo, or should I step out of it?
Well, the problem, you've got to find out about this anyway, because this devalues your condo. Nobody wants to buy a $250,000 condo with this ridiculous HOA fee, so it's going to make your condo not worth as much.
Right.
So you've got to find out what the flip's going on to have maybe it's going on for one more year because they're building up a war chest to go do the roofs or something like that. But you don't
and they have to be, by bylaws, very transparent.
Oh, yeah. You have the
money.
right. You have the right to know exactly where the money's going.
Yeah, you have to be able to, they're supposed to document everything. So, yeah, you should be able to pull.
Yeah, I want to see a copy
meetings,
of the financials and explain to me why the flip this is double what it should be.
And minutes from the meetings. I mean, all of that. I think you need to pull all of that and see what's going on, because that is strange. But just say, for your sake, Danielle, like, say it is like, well, sorry, this is just what it is. And, you know, I don't know.
Yes, I would sell. I would get out of there because it's being poorly managed.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear this. I like that. Okay, I'll do the first step.
But yeah, because you've got to have an explanation for your buyer. Otherwise, I don't want to buy it if I'm the buyer. I don't want to walk into this.
Yeah.
Because that's a red flag. I mean, if you just say I have high and you mean $25 high, but this sounds to me like it's double what it should be. I mean, we own a property, for instance, that the HOA fees include a golf course and several other things, and it's only $750, and the properties in that neighborhood are $5 to $20 million. Just to give you an idea, that's how stupid this number is. So that's just nuts, and so. You know, and there's a lot of amenities built into that's what I'm saying, like country club type stuff.
Yeah, so, pools and clubhouses and yeah.
And so into that number.
It's an entire development, little city. So obviously you're going to pay more. But for a $250,000 condo to be paying as much as you're paying,
that's
an
what I'm
HOA
saying.
is
that's just
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's just nuts. So I'm going to want to know more. And the problem is that I hate HOAs. I just hate them.
This is such a free spirit thing to say. I don't even know how much Winston pays for ours.
It's not much.
It's always in our.
Yeah. I know, but no.
I'm sorry. We don't live with a community with a golf course.
That's not what the point was. The point is, you guys are in a very efficiently run neighborhood. Winston and I have talked about this. It was not the fact that you're living in the slums.
No, I know.
It was that you live in a very well run thing.
It's obviously not as expensive as mine.
So. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm just saying, all you free spirits
from this?
All you free spirits out there, it's okay if you have a nerd spouse and they run every little thing. I just was thinking in my head, I was like, I need to go to my every dollar budget and see how much our HOA fees are, because I'm like, I don't even.
Yeah. We're members of a whole bunch of HOAs and none of them are fun. So none of them.
You just don't like being told what to do.
I don't like paying then being told what to do. That's exactly right. By people who don't have anything else to do with their lives.
You should run for your board.
No, thank you. I have a life.
You should be HOA. You should.
I have vowed to never waste my time on that.
Serve your community. Serve your community. Time, talents, and money is the way to give in life. And Dave?
We'll have to find another way to serve,
This could be a
Rachel.
good way to serve.
We'll have to find another way to serve,
Dave
Rachel.
for president.
Dave for president?
You might see signs throughout.
2024.
You're gated.
Serve your country.
You sound like the OC.
I'm more likely to serve my country than I am my HOA. And both of them are not going to happen.
The Real Housewives one of the intros to the OC is like, gated community, all bougie. You should be a part of the Real Housewives too. You'll fit right in.
I should be a Real Housewife. What are you? You
should be.
What
on
is
the show.
in that cup?
What? H2O.
What are you drinking over here? This
Water.
is the Ramsey Show.
Y'all, there's a lot you can't control when it comes to healthcare, but there is something you should check out that can help. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is not insurance. It is budget-friendly, biblically based health cost sharing. That means a community of members helping share the burden of each other's healthcare costs. They help people just like you in all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Learn more today at chministries.org/budget.
Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us, America. Hey, if you like the show, we need some help from you. We need you to share the show. You can do that if you're a podcast listener or a YouTube listener by clicking the share link or sharing the link, either one, however you want to do that. The share button, do all that. We need you to subscribe and follow the show in whatever format you're taking the show. And you can share the show if you're listening on talk radio. We got 680 talk radio stations across America. And if you're doing that, just tell somebody where you're listening. Or if you're watching on TBN, tell them you're doing that. Let people know we're here, please. And, of course, you can rate the show. We need 5-star ratings. 1 star doesn't help. Mama said if you hadn't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just move yourself along. If you hate the show, go on and watch something else. Do something else. It's okay. We're okay with that. But leave us a 5-star. That helps. And subscribe and follow and share. If you do all of those things, it moves us forward in the algorithms, and people learn about us that didn't know we were here, and we're able to help more people, and that's why we're here. So thanks for hanging out with us. Jorge is with us in Orlando, Florida. Hi, Jorge. How are you?
Hi. I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
All right. So I have no debt. I'm getting married in June. My goal after the wedding is to buy a house after 1 year.
Congratulations.
Is it smart to put Thank you. Is it smart to put the emergency fund and the house fund in a high-yield savings account so it could grow a little?
Yes. I think it's a great place to put it. Yeah, high-yield savings accounts actually are getting a little bit better even than money markets, depending on your bank. And so, yeah, I think a high yield savings account is a perfect place to keep an emergency fund. That's where we keep ours, Jorge, my husband and I. And then we have another one that's in the same account that we use for short-term savings. So that's basically exactly what we personally do and what we recommend to people. So you're doing it exactly right. So congrats on the wedding, and it's smart
Thank you so much.
to wait a year. I think you're being really wise in that decision as well. So you guys are starting off on a really great foot.
Here's the warning. Yeah. Yes, you should do that. And yes, that's wise. And I completely agree. But here's the warning. Okay. You're getting 4% instead of 1% on $10,000. It's $400.
Right.
Translation. Whoopee. What's important is that you're paying attention. That's important. What's important is that you have an emergency fund for emergencies, not going into debt for that, and that you've earmarked it for that, and you don't touch it for anything else. Right? And all of those wise things are what are going to cause you to build wealth. Oh, and by the way, the money that's going to be in your house fund to buy a house with is not going to be because of the interest rate on this. It's going to be because you put money in there, because $400 is not going to get you a house.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the plan is to put 50 is for 50K for house fund, and then it'll probably be 18K for emergency fund.
Yeah, but if you put in 50K in a year, the amount of interest you make in that year while you're putting in 50K is nothing compared to the fact that Jorge is a genius and put in 50K. So you're the secret sauce, not the investment.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
And I want you to everybody to grasp that the reason money is in a short-term savings account is because you put the money in there, not because it earned interest, because it doesn't earn enough interest.
It's not there as an investment.
Mathematically to do that.
Yeah.
So all you're doing is being wise with a very short-term play. That's all you're doing. And that is a good thing. And you are way ahead of the curve, dude. Everything you brought up, you are doing it correctly.
That's right. And the fact that the big purchase is coming in, less than 3 years that you're going to write a check. So, but for a lot of people though, because inflation is so high, if you had a lot of money, it just sitting in a high yield savings though, without a plan, you're going to lose.
Yeah,
so
it's not a long-term play.
So cash is not like, in that regard,
you make 4
you're not
and
even keeping up with inflation.
9.6.
You're not even keeping up. Yeah. But you want to be able to get to it quickly, which is the emergency fund key. It's more like insurance versus an investment, and putting money in the market with something that you're going to be pulling out in a year, 2 years, even 3 years. There's just some risk with the volatility of the market. So having it somewhere safe that you can get to is always a great plan.
Tara is in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Hi, Tara. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So at the moment, I'm on baby step 3. I found you guys a year ago and paid off $20,000 in debt.
Good for you.
And at the moment, I'm trying to move out of my parents' house, but I have no credit, and everything requires you to have credit.
No, it doesn't.
What should I do?
No, it doesn't.
The places around here, everyone's telling me
they
that
don't.
I need a credit score.
No, they don't. I don't believe you. Anthony O'Neill, that was a Ramsey personality, called 20 apartment complexes in our immediate area. And 2 of them required a credit score. If you didn't have a credit score because you were moving out of your parents' house and you were 100% debt free and you had an emergency fund, 5 of them asked for, because there was no credit score, an additional deposit. But only 2 out of 20 required a credit score, or they would not rent to you. You have not checked. You've just talked to your friends.
I've went through Zulu. I've tried to talk to people around here. I've even talked to realtors.
Did you call apartment complexes and ask them on the phone to the manager if you could rent their apartment without a credit score? You're moving out of your parents' house and you have an emergency fund and you have the deposit and you have a job.
Yes. The few that was going to let me requires a cosigner, and you talk badly about doing
No,
that.
I would not do a cosigner. I wouldn't rent from them. How many did you call that told you that? Really? Tell me the truth.
Each week I look through Zulu and call about 50 around me, because it's a large area in Martinsburg and Harpers Ferry.
Tara, I don't want to be disrespectful, but you're doing something wrong here, because what you have found is completely opposite of what we found as we've researched this. We have sat and physically called from Ramsey and said, I'm moving to Nashville from another place, from my mother's basement. I don't have a credit score. I have an emergency fund, and I have a full-time job making this. Do you require a credit score? And very few of them required this. I don't know how you managed to find 50 a week that require it when we can't even find one. So something's wrong with this equation.
Yeah, because for majority of the time, if you have proof of income, if you have security deposit in cash, sometimes they make you upfront first month's rent, last month's rent. There's
they usually do.
Yeah, there's that
credit score or not.
All of that you're going to have to provide. But I would, Tara. I mean, I wouldn't. And here's the deal, right? So say it is that extreme, then keep moving out. Keep moving out your circle.
Well,
further.
Find an individual landlord that owns a property that is a real person and is not some corporate owner of. Because the only people that require this are corporate idiots. Real humans that are landlords, all they want to see is that you can pay the bill. And like for instance, I've got a bunch of real estate. If you came to rent from us and you had no credit score, but you had proof of job and a good down payment, and and you're moving from another city, we can verify where you used to live, whatever it is. We're going to do the background checks and everything. But if we can find all of that, then I couldn't care less if you have a credit score. All I want's my money as the landlord. And so, and that's a lot of individual landlords as well. So you may need to find that instead of some corporate thing. I think there's something else in your formula that I misunderstood from you or you didn't represent correctly, one of the two, because what you're telling me is just not happening out there. It just doesn't happen. So it's theory. People talk about it on the internet, but when we actually call apartment complexes, we did not find that. And it's on YouTube. Anthony O'Neill was here. He was calling. You can find it on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
He's calling apartment complexes. Nope. Yep. I mean, it was just over and over. I thought it would be half of them. I was a little shocked.
When you were saying nope, that means you don't need a credit score. Yeah.
Don't need a credit score.
Yeah.
Don't need a credit score. Don't need a credit score. Don't need a credit score. That was the answer. Over and over and over again. This is the Ramsey Show. Buying a home is one of the biggest decisions of your life. You need a partner like Churchill Mortgage. Churchill is one of the highest rated lenders in the country, and they're Ramsey trusted because they do what's right for you. Churchill works with you to build a mortgage the Ramsey way, one that doesn't bust your budget, sets you up for financial success, and helps you get out of debt faster. Go to churchillmortgage.com today and get started. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host this hour in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Randy and Audra are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Welcome. Where do you guys live?
Whitewater, Wisconsin.
Very cool. Welcome to Nashville.
Thank you.
And how much debt have you paid off?
$130,000.
Love it. And how long did this take?
29 months.
Good for you. Your range of income during that 2.5 years?
$140,000 to $180,000.
Cool. What do y'all do for a living?
I'm a contractor / handyman.
Okay.
And I work for the insurance.
Okay. You work to get a free insurance.
I'm actually a technical designer, so.
Okay. Awesome. Good for you. Well done. What kind of debt was the 130?
It was a beautiful house in Whitewater, Wisconsin.
Paid off the house.
Weird people.
Looking at weird people. Paid for house and everything. No payments anywhere in the world.
Not a thing.
Congratulations, you guys. That is fabulous. What's this house worth?
About $550,000.
I love it. How much have you guys got saved in retirement?
We're about $350,000 within retirement, and we have some other property we own, so we're probably just over $1 million.
Good for you. Looking at baby steps millionaires, too. Way to go, guys. All right. Tell us what happened 2.5 years ago made you decide you're going to do this Ramsey stuff and pay off the house.
Well, I work by myself quite a bit, so I was looking for some new podcasts to listen to, and Audra said, well, why don't you listen to the Dave Ramsey Show? I'm like, okay. Well, after I listened to it, I'm like, you know what? I think there was an underlying meaning behind her asking me to listen to that.
Wait, I mean, I told him
She's
about the
sneaky
podcast.
that way.
Yeah.
He
The free insurance girl.
He listened to the podcast and literally 3 days later said, we have to do this. We have to do this right now. Drop everything. We're doing this. Have you listened to the podcast? We're doing this. And I said, yes, honey.
That's such a great idea. Yeah. You're such a good, you're so wise.
It's always better when it's my idea, though.
So good. Okay, so you were obviously, Audra, you were more on board beginning. What was it that kind of roped you in that you were like, here, listen to this? Because there's a lot of spouses that say, I want to do this, but my husband or my wife, they're hesitant. So we do tell them, tell them to listen to the podcast because maybe that'll help.
My family was very into it maybe 10 years prior.
Okay.
And I had mentioned to him at the time, and he was like, yeah, not ready.
It is your
not
family,
ready.
you know.
Right. So, yeah, exactly. And I said, the opportunity will come around again.
Okay, so did y'all have any debts besides the house, or was that really the thing that was...
We did have some consumer debt, which we took care of pretty quickly.
Okay.
And then after that, we
did the house.
we refinanced in 2019, and got one of those nice low rates that they were offering at the time. And all your friends are telling you, well, don't pay off your house because that money's going to make you more money than paying off your house. And I'm like, you know what? I'm getting older. I want to make sure that house is gone by the time I'm ready to retire. So I can retire whenever I want now.
Okay.
So
how old are you two?
I'm 56.
I'm 54.
Okay. And your baby steps millionaires, a paid for house worth $500,000-$600,000.
Yep.
How's that feel?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Pretty amazing.
Have you ever been debt free since you got married?
If we were, it was right when we first got married, but it was probably for a very short period of time.
Yeah, for 10 minutes, and then we figured out.
We decided we probably needed a car or something back then, something stupid. But
Okay. But you were living pretty frugally and under control to start with because you didn't have a big mortgage.
No.
You didn't have a bunch of debt.
No.
And so you just reach over and smack the house, and you're done, right?
No, when we first got married, I just said we need to have a savings, like emergency fund. And I'm like, what the heck's an emergency fund? But little did I know, she knows way more than I do. So.
Okay, so you guys did, you to a degree, you were pretty intense. You guys lived on half of your income basically to do this in 2 years.
Right.
Did the kids feel the sacrifice? Do you feel like it was a lot of sacrifice, or do you feel like, oh no, we still had a great
Because
time
there are
and great
support
family?
groups for teenagers
I
out
know,
there
I'm
that have
sorry,
endured
y'all.
the Dave Ramsey stuff.
We think they were fine. I'm not so sure. They thought they were fine.
There was some crying. There was some crying.
But at the end of the day, as parents, worth it.
Yes, and they got on board rather quickly when they saw how excited we were about it, and that we weren't taking things from them. We were actually giving them freedom to do with their money what they wanted to instead of somebody else saying, you owe me.
Yeah.
So
That's
Well,
so
way to
great.
go, you guys. I'm
thank
proud
you.
of you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Outside of your immediate family, who were your biggest cheerleaders? Who was saying this is smart, you should do it?
I think both of our immediate families, our parents and stuff were pretty supportive. We didn't tell a lot of people outside of that, but, most of them were pretty supportive.
Yeah, good.
They were happy we were doing it, not them, I guess. But
Yeah. So what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
for me, it was the budget. I just had no clue where our money was going. So writing it down using the Every Dollar app was just instrumental. Again, there was crying involved, trying to figure out how to use it and just wrapping my head around budgeting. But like I said, 3 months in, we were like pros at it. So, and still doing it today.
for me, it's mostly being patient with the process. I tend to want to do things really fast and get them over with. But I knew that was a bigger amount than I was going to be able to get over with in a minute or two. So I had to learn to be patient and kind of follow the process and not try to get ahead of myself.
Yeah, cool. Very cool, you guys. Great job.
Excellent.
We're proud of you.
Congratulations.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing. I mean, in your 50s, your baby steps millionaires, house and everything's paid for. Making 180, you can do anything you want to do now. What's the first big thing you're going to do now that you're debt free?
Well, the first thing was coming here, but we have some plans to do quite a bit more traveling this year. So now that we can go back into Canada, we're going to Canada fishing for a week. And
there you go.
Doing some fun stuff like that.
There you go. Good. That's a good trip. Very cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, bring the kiddos up. We've got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires for you, a copy of Total Money Makeover for you, and a Financial Peace University membership for you. You can use those or give them. That's the Live and Give box. So what are the kiddos' names and ages?
Kiddos, they're like adult, they're like teenagers.
They are adults.
This is my son-in-law, Wendell, our daughter, Ashley, and our daughter, Carson.
Are you guys
Our
all?
son, Carson. Sorry.
Are y'all Are they what's ages, real quick?
Ashley's 25, Carson's 18.
Okay.
Awesome.
Very cool.
So
Well,
great.
Congratulations, you guys. Very well done. All
Y'all
right.
are proud of your parents too. So Love it. Love it.
They are. Randy and Audra, Carson, Ashley, and Wendell, Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. $130,000 paid off in 29 months, making 140 to 180. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free! Yeah! That's awesome. That is how it's done. It is interesting that you get new information, and some people act on it, and some people don't.
Yeah, I mean, depending on probably how, where you are in your financial journey. And for them, it was retirement. He's like, I don't want to look up and still have this house at retirement. So, so there's usually that why. What's that thing that's kind of that motivator? So, but the fact that I love, even just with the numbers, I'm like, man, they did so well with being wise with it. And they did it in, a little over 2 years, where we say on average, it takes about 7 years to pay off the whole house. But as they've been chipping away at it throughout, their journey, being able just to for 2 years, just really focus in, you get that result. And now you get to live with no payments.
Yeah. I like it that she dropped that podcast on him, didn't even know what he was getting into, made it his idea. That's pretty great.
That's what we tell, because a lot of spouses, or people we talk to, married couples, one of the biggest questions is, my spouse won't get on board. And we say one of the ways is to have a third party be the one to deliver the message. So whether it's through a book or through a podcast. So all you spouses out there, or that want this plan, but maybe your other spouse is hesitant, they're a great picture of, hey, just give them some information. Let us be the bad guys and give them what they need. It's great.
It's our spiritual gift. This is The Ramsey Show. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Folks, a lot of you got questions about taxes because it's tax time. We get it. Taxes are confusing. To help you get a better handle on them, let's unpack a question from one of our listeners. Dave, my son has got a W-2 from his first job this year. He's 18 and still in high school. Does he have to file separately? Your son will need to file a separate tax return if his earned income was more than $12,950. The good news is you can still claim him as a dependent on your tax return as long as he indicates that someone else is claiming him as a dependent on his return. He can do all of that and get all of his refund money back as well, which you'll probably get 100% of it back. So to claim adult children as dependents, they have to live with you for more than half of that year. They must be under age 19 at the end of the tax year or under age 24 and a full-time student. They must file single, not jointly, and you must provide more than 50% of their financial support for expenses like housing, food, clothing, and so forth. That's the IRS rules. If you're ready to file your taxes, check out Ramsey Smart Tax. It lets you file online with upfront low pricing, no hidden fees, and you can save up to 70% when you switch from another software. And we won't try to sell you a credit card like TurboTax. So check it out. Go to RamseySolutions.com/SmartTax. It's quick, it's easy. Also at RamseySolutions.com, since we're up on tax time, if you need a tax professional because you've got a complicated return, we have a group of endorsed local providers around the nation. Just click on ELP for taxes at RamseySolutions.com and we'll help you find that as well. All right, let's go to Paul in Kansas City. Hey, Paul, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave and Rachel. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
My wife and I would like to build a new home, and we would like your advice in regards to the financial implications of building that new home. we currently own our home, and we are trying to figure out whether it makes sense to sell our home and rent a place for a period of time and pay for the home with cash, or if it made more sense to borrow a sum of money temporarily and continue to live in our home while the new home is being built. We've followed your, debt-free philosophy, and it's been a great inspiration for us. So it feels strange or odd to us to be borrowing money again, but just wondering if you thought that made sense maybe in this particular case.
Well, obviously you'd just be doing it for a very short period of time until your home's sold.
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
So neither one of these fall in a dumb column. We would not click dumb or check dumb beside you on either one of these. Both of them are fine. You're going to end up at the end of the story with a paid-for house. Am I understanding that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So a couple of just comments. One is be careful of and almost write it down, and both of you sign it, that we're not keeping this house that you live in now, no matter what. We're selling it. Because I don't want you to get into this and go, well, I think we'll rent it. I think we want to be, I saw something on TikTok and I want to be a landlord now. I don't want you, going sideways on this. And that can happen. Mm-hmm. That can happen often. And so you have to be, both of you have to be, my brother wants to live in. I don't care. Okay? You are selling this freaking house. You got to have that kind of mentality. Yeah. You with me? And nothing sneaks up on you. Nothing changes that if you go this way. So that's comment number one. Comment number two is, I don't borrow money for anything ever. And so were I in your situation, I would have to move into a rental. Because I wouldn't even borrow the short term, because I simply am never going into debt again ever for anything, even if it costs me inconvenience, even if it costs me money, because I don't borrow money, period. And that has served me really, really well. That's caused me to be able to prosper and to avoid risk and downturns and pandemics and everything else. And so,
so there's just extra costs in the moving and then the hassle.
Pain in the butt.
But at the end of the day, there's no bank transaction. You're not dealing with all of that, right? So, so there's a freedom there that you carry through this whole process. But Paul, if you do choose, and again, like Dave just said, there's no stupid quote unquote box to check here on either one, but also a risk that we see people, whether it's, we're not going to end up selling the house, we're going to end up renting it or whatever, they go off on that. Or the loan, as you start building, and my husband and I, we built in 2019, and slowly, man, the upgrades, we could do these kind of cabinets, you want those fixture as well. You could, that fixture is just a little bit more. And you start it's like the lifestyle creep, but it's the house creep. And then you can kind of start to justify, well, we'll just take out like $50,000 more and pay it. But, we'll just take out a little bit more to get what we want. You start to just move that finish line when debt and a loan is part of it. It's hard to have this more black and white stance that when it's just cash. So if you guys do stay in your home, take out a loan to build, again, just as passionately as you are that you're going to sell the house, you have to be as passionate with, this is our number and we're sticking to it no matter what, because it is hard. And trust me, it's not fun when you're like, I'm building a house and this, and we have to cut stuff. I remember we had to do that. We had to look at our budget, came over budget, and it was like, you have to cut stuff, and it's not fun to go backwards. So when you have your dream, you're like, oh man, we can't have all of this, so we have to cut things. And when it's with cash, it is what it is versus...
We don't have the money. We can't do it.
You don't. And so versus the loan, you can kind of be in that gray. So just be careful. Just words of caution, Paul. Yes, words of caution.
When you're borrowing money, Rachel's point is you're more apt to have scope creep on the size of the build than you are when you're using real cash. Because real cash runs out eventually. And so, and that's a very wise insight. Good, very good. Jonathan's with us in Gainesville, Florida. Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Y'all doing all right?
Better than we deserve. What's up?
So, my wife and I have never really done Ramsey before, but also never had debt. But we've gotten to a point where I'm considering a new car, and I just y'all are about the most conservative on this, so I just want to run the numbers with you, and it's scaring me a little bit, but it might be an okay decision, and if Jade of all people gives me the green light, I'll feel better about it.
All right, how much are you going to buy?
So it's a $36,000 or $37,000 Tacoma for my wife. After tax tag out the door, it's like 40 or 41.
That's not a new. That's used.
No, it's brand new.
Brand new. Okay.
I got one.
Is your net worth over $1 million?
No, sir.
I'm sorry?
No, sir.
No.
Quite.
Okay. Are you paying cash?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your household income?
80. I live on 40. And we invest, save, and I don't know, do other stuff with the other 40.
Okay. The rule of thumb that we use is don't buy a total of everything that you own that has wheels and motors, because everything that has wheels and motors goes down in value. Don't buy more than half your annual income total. So unless you're walking...
That's why I feel a little rough about
unless you're walking, you're not buying this car.
You, Jonathan, while your wife drives the brand new truck.
Yeah. You don't. You're making 80. You just spent 36. Unless you're walking, she's not getting this car.
Gotcha.
But
I mean, I have to meet the half. I have part of it too would be so she just got in a car crash, and so we've got an inflow of money from hers, and then I have a second car that she's driving now that won't work that we're going to sell no matter what. Mm-hmm. And so either I'd get her, another beater that we just put so much into tires. And
no,
like that.
You don't have to do that. You just don't go buy a new car. Go buy a $20,000 truck for her. Get her a $20,000 Tacoma. Tacos are great. We've had a bunch of tacos. That's what we call them in our family. When Winston met Rachel, he was driving a taco.
Winston's drove a Tacoma
most of his life.
Yep. When I met him in college.
Is the new one a big Tacoma?
No,
that's the Tundra.
He went full size. It was a big deal.
The big dog.
It was a big deal. But Tacomas.
But we like the tacos. But
and they keep their value. They do keep their value. So they
do.
They are.
Well, they better. They nothing keeps its value.
Well,
but get a used one that you can afford. Don't buy new cars unless you have a net worth of $1 million, and don't buy cars that total over half your annual income. So don't buy it. This is the Ramsey Show. Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studios, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Open phones here at 888-825-5225. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. Open phones here again, 888-825-5225. Before we jump to the calls, just a reminder that our Ramsey Solutions headquarters just south of Nashville in Franklin, Tennessee, are open to the public. There's a bit of a museum. There's a bookstore. There's a wonderful coffee shop. The cookies are homemade and free. The coffee is wonderful and free. And we do this show from 1 to 4 Central Time every Monday through Friday, live on the glass. A couple of Ramsey personalities will be sitting here all of those days, unless it's a holiday of some kind. We were not here, for instance, on Good Friday. The whole company was closed, as an example. But otherwise, we're here. And typically, there's 50 to 200 people sitting out here watching the show as we do it. And you're more than welcome. The whole experience is completely our gift to you. And we'd love to have you anytime. So just put us on your list. On this Friday, tomorrow, for most of you listening, we'll be broadcasting live from the Ramsey Live Events Center as we go into Smart Conference Weekend. And so we're doing that from the stage there with about 1,000 folks or so, maybe 1,500, whatever it ends up being in the live audience there. And we'll be taking questions from the floor as well as over the phones for those of you tuning in to that particular event or that particular podcast or whatever, however it is you get this show. So thank you. Again, open phones, 888-825-5225. Trish is in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Hi, Trish. How are you?
Hi, Dave. How are you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Good. Well, I have a question. I'll jump right to it. My father-in-law passed away a year and a half ago, and my husband and his two sisters are the beneficiaries of his estate. The one sister has been listed as the executor, and it took us until about a month ago to even get a copy of his will. They claim that all of his assets have been sold or gotten rid of or whatever, but they won't provide any accounting of it. And the only thing left is he had quite a gun collection that he was very proud of, and that was a big part of his life and that he shared with his children as far as an interest and love of guns. So now the executor, the sister, is insisting that these guns are going to be sold on Saturday at a sale, and she's telling us that if we want to have any of these guns, that we have to pay the price that she has listed them at. We have been through Financial Peace University. We're in baby step 2. We have $40,000 left of debt to pay off, and we have gotten fed up with debt, and we are at the point that we don't borrow money. But as being in baby step 2, we only have $1,000 in our emergency fund, and we just feel really stuck.
Why is his sister being a butt?
I don't know. I feel like they are hiding things, and I don't know why.
Well, they not get along. Honestly, I mean, does your brother not, your husband not get along with his sisters?
They get along just fine, except when somebody died. They did the same thing when their mother passed away. But we're really torn. We have 3 grown children. 2 of them are sons, and they would really like to have some of these guns. Of course, they mean a lot to my husband. But financially, we can't justify going into debt to acquire these guns. I've reached out to like 5 or 6 attorneys.
So 1/3 of the guns are yours, or your husband's?
Correct. Yes. And that's what the will states, is that these assets are to be divided in thirds.
Okay.
So has he told her no? Has he told her you're not selling 1/3 of them? I will come pick them up?
Yes. And that was met with, this conversation is over, and she hung up on it.
Okay. If I were your husband, I would call. It depends on how much you want to do. You got 2 choices, okay? You stand back and watch this happen, or you hire an attorney and you stop the sale and you sue her ass.
Yeah. But then if we go the attorney route, I mean, that's a lot of money too.
No, it's not. Won't take a lot, because all this woman needs is somebody to give her get her attention. That's what she needs. No one has stood up to this woman in a long time, and it is time somebody did.
Okay, but for real though, how much will it cost to get an attorney? To Trish's point,
it costs $200 to go get a letter and tell her we're going to. It might cost $1,000 to file with the probate court and stop the sale. But all you got to have is an attorney call. Listen, all you got to have is an attorney call her, and this whole thing is going to stop, because she's going to cave like a Walmart tent. I mean.
Okay. And that's another thing. It's never gone through probate.
It doesn't have to necessarily.
Okay.
She has to follow. The executor is to follow the execution of the will. Does the will state that the assets are all to be sold at auction?
It states that any debts that he is owing, to sell assets to pay those debts, and anything that's left to divide them equally by the 3 children.
Okay, but we don't know if there's debt left.
Well, she won't say. And he owned a home. I know. He owned 2 other properties
that have been sold.
We've gotten no accounting of that either. Yes, they've been sold.
So it just depends on how, you either can just forget it and walk away and just forget it. It's probably not a lot of money. It's probably not a lot of money.
Well, the guns, the value she's assigned to them is about almost $40,000.
It's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
$40,000 divided by 3 is not much. It's not going to pay for the attorney. It's not going to pay for the attorney by the time you have a big old fight. So you just got to decide how pissed you are about this.
Well,
you're twisted up. Is your husband?
Oh, my husband's emotionally a wreck.
Okay. I mean, like a wuss wreck, or like a guy who's going to stand up and do something about it?
Well, that's more what I'm afraid of.
do something about it. Hire an attorney and shut her down. Put an injunction. Go into probate court. Put an injunction on the sale until there's an accounting of this stuff. And because these assets need to be divided. If you want to spend a little money fighting on it, fight on it. Okay. But it's more about the fight than it is, and the injustice of the situation than it is the actual amount of money. Because I don't think there's a lot of money here, kiddo.
No, there's not. But when we live our life by saying we're not going to take out any more debt ever, and we feel like we're being put in a position where we would have to if we want to get in.
No, you don't. You don't have to accept her terms. I don't have to accept her terms.
Okay.
Just because you're going to get some money from this estate, and you can pay the attorney with that money. There's money due to you. There's money due to your husband.
I know. Yes.
But you don't know how much, Trish.
No, we don't. But
no, we don't know how much.
Do you have a reasonable guess? Okay, what do you think this property was worth that sold?
He sold his house for $158,000. That sold before he died by a few years. And then he owned another piece of property that conveniently got sold to one of the sisters.
Okay. You've either got to decide you're going to accept this situation or you got to hire an attorney this afternoon, and you're going to have to file with the probate court to stop the sale tomorrow until the executor is held to account, to an accounting of where the money is freaking gone. That's what I would do, because I don't put up with this trash, and this is just trash. This is the Ramsey Show. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. If you're planning a move anytime soon, that's awesome. We're excited for you. But in some places around the country, you're still going to be facing some high home prices. And interest rates, well, they haven't gone down to their record lows either. That doesn't make home ownership impossible. If you want to buy or sell, you just got to make sure you're financially ready. And you've got to have a trusted and experienced real estate agent to walk you through it. Not a family friend who got their license last month. Not someone who does real estate as a hobby. You need a pro, especially in times like these. You can find a high-octane, high-caliber, high-protein Ramsey trusted agent like that through our endorsed local providers program. And since we vet the agents from around the country, we have the best support. And we're going to, if you're moving from Florida to Alaska or vice versa, we can help you wherever it is. Wherever it is. RamseySolutions.com/agent and find a Ramsey trusted real estate agent today. That's RamseySolutions.com/agent. Okay, let's go back for a second.
To the last call?
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Yeah. It's in a way.
I felt terrible for her.
A really bad one in another way. So, number one, everyone needs a will. Number two, the executor of the will, the word executor literally means execute. They are to execute the document, what the document says. They do not have leeway to get creative. The executor has to follow the guidelines of the will. And that apparently was being done. We don't know for sure, except for the part where she's selling the guns and is being a butt to her brother. Okay? That's the technical legal part of having a will. Everyone needs a will, and everyone needs an executor in the will. Now, how do you prevent something like this from happening? Dad that died, bless his heart, Southern term, did a crummy job, because his job is not to let his death and his little, not a lot of assets. I mean, there's less than $100,000 in play here. By the time they divide it up and go through all the garbage, $30,000 a piece, probably. Yeah. So this is not like these people are getting rich out of this thing. So all they did was get mad at each other for life over a handful of guns. Really. That's pretty hillbilly. And so you really need to sit down with the people that are going to be handling the will and be very clear what you want done and the spirit over which you want this done. The purpose of me leaving my 3 children something, if I'm this man, is for them to have a quality relationship when the smoke clears. You can't tell, unless this guy's some kind of weirdo that died, he doesn't want his 3 kids not speaking.
Mad at each other, right.
He doesn't want them mad at each other. And that's what he got.
Okay, but my question was, let's just keep going with it.
His job was to do a reading of the will while he's alive, cover it with the 3 kids. Here's what I want done. Here's how I want it handled.
Yeah, but can't she, the older sister, still, like, I know she can't, but she still could
misbehave. She could still misbehave.
She could, even if all that's done.
If he had done that all, and then all the kids. But at least then the other sister wouldn't have participated. The other sister ended up with the land in the deal.
That's right. Okay, that's right. Because there was another piece. Because I was going to say, you have to sell.
There's some dynamic going on in the family here that was there before he died.
But you have to sell those assets in order to pay off debt. So my question is, what if there was more debt and the sister has to sell the guns because it's the only assets
because
that
the
he
other
has?
sister took the land.
Yeah, and so she doesn't have a choice.
Well, no, you can't get to
No, I mean, if you sell assets in order to pay off the debt, so what if there was more debt?
What if the other sister took more than her third, or didn't, more than her third net in that land? That's what we don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know. We don't have an accounting. So in this case, but what happened is, how do you prevent something like this from happening? Is you sit down with all 3 kids in the room together when you do the will, and you say, Sally's going to be the executor, but here's what's going to happen. Sally, this is what you're going to do. And the other 2 understand what she's going to do. And if she doesn't do that, now the last piece of this is, you don't wait when things are misbehaving for a year and a half. You don't wait till 2 days before the gun sale to decide to be mad. You get mad like months ago.
From our caller. I think she was mad. I think she was calling us to say, I don't know what to do.
Her husband wouldn't do anything about it. So, but you got to decide, okay, I'm going to force this hand a long time before 2 days before the sale.
Right.
And you can't wait up until the last minute, because that just adds even more drama to the whole situation. So 2 months ago, go over to your sister's house, sit down and go, look, you're going to provide an accounting, or we're going to take you to court, and the court's going to tell you you're going to provide an accounting. You're going to have to own up, fess up to what's going on here. You don't get to do this in the dark. That's not how this works. And if you don't, then that's what we're going to do. And you just solve it. You just tell people this is the way it is. There's 2 options. You're going to provide an accounting easy, or you're going to provide an accounting hard. You got to decide. And hang up on me if you want, but try hanging up on the judge. He'll put you in jail. So it's called contempt of court. So you don't want to do that. This is ridiculous. So, but what happens is all this drama happens because of poor planning and a poor process in place.
Or putting a poor executor in, right? Because you can do all of that. But if you know your oldest daughter, Sally's a little cray-cray, don't put her as the executor.
Exactly. Exactly. Oldest daughter doesn't necessarily mean you get to do it. Cray-cray invalidates. Yeah. This is, you lose your license, you lose your executor's license.
Hey, that's
as if there is such a thing.
That's a real thing.
Tony's in Winston-Salem. Hey, Tony, how are you?
I am well, thank you.
Good. How can we help?
I work full-time for the state of North Carolina. I'm retiring in 3 years. I have been doing a side hustle for the last several years as a real estate agent, and I plan to transition to that full-time. My husband and I are in baby step 6. We have been fully focused on paying off our home, but I'm wondering if maybe we should back off that a little bit and start stockpiling cash for our Hill and Valley account for when I transition to real estate full-time.
How much are you making in your current job working for the state?
Not 82.
And how much were you making on real estate, even though it's just a side thing? But
I made 52 last year.
Okay, good for you.
Thank you.
Well, I think the biggest thing.
How much is in your emergency fund?
32.
32,000.
Mm-hmm.
When do you want to quit?
2026.
I don't think you need to do anything. If you want to pile up some extra money, that's fine. But by 2026, you're probably going to be making more in real estate than you are now. and that'll mean you'll be making more than you are at your job now. So it's not going to be an issue.
Okay. I know I had a slow first quarter, and it got me just thinking, I need to be able to cover my bills when I don't have my full-time job to fall back on.
This last quarter was a slow first quarter. Yeah, I mean, because real estate slowed down. Okay.
I mean, you could have a separate little account, Tony, and just say, hey, here's an additional 2 months to get me through. But it's not like you're going to make nothing. I mean, if you go full-time into real estate, you're probably going to have some backlog from the year before when you decide to quit. So
what's your husband make?
He's retired. He draws Social Security. It's like $15,000 a year.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably try to slow down on the house a little bit. I don't want you to get into retirement and still have debt on the house because of this routine. But I mean, like 65 years old and still have debt on the house. Okay.
How much is left?
But that's what I would do. I would just move that direction. And I think you're in better shape than you feel like you are. You're a fairly conservative person. And but another $30,000 or so set aside, I think you'd be in good shape to move on out and head that right way.
It's great, Tony. Congratulations.
Yeah, way
killing
to go.
it. Doing it part-time, making 52.
Yeah, that's respectable. That's solid. And that gives you got the boat close to the dock before you jump off, A lot of times people don't get the boat close enough to the dock. They don't make enough at the side hustle, and it's just like a dream, and then they just jump and they miss, and they get in the water. So you've done a really good job of getting that income up. Good job. This is The Ramsey Show. Rachel Cruz, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Madison is on the debt-free stage in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions. Hey, Madison, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Better than I deserve. Where do you live?
I live in Frederick, Maryland.
Oh, good to have you. Okay. And how much debt have you paid off?
$148,000.
Good for you. And how long did this take?
3 years.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
It went from about $38,000 to now about $145,000.
Oh my
Nice job, Madison.
Thank you.
Wow. What do you do for a living now?
Now I work as a procurement manager at a biotechnology company.
Very cool. What did you do before?
So I took the first job that came available out of college, and I worked in claims.
Okay. And then just boom, rocket shipped up, huh?
Yes.
Good for you. So what kind of debt was your $148,000?
It was a mortgage.
You paid off your house?
I paid off my house.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Wow! What is this house worth?
Now it's about $300,000.
Oh my gosh! Look at that. Well done, Madison.
Thank you.
Well done. What caused you to do this as a 25-year-old? Because you were 22 when you started this.
Yes.
So you got out of college, bought a house, and just said, I'm going to just do what I can to pay it off?
Yeah. So actually in 2017, my parents had bribed me to go to a financial peace course at the church with them. So they were going through the process. So I watched them get debt free. And then getting out of school, I decided to just go for it. And as my income inclined, I get to keep putting more and more towards it. So
just a financial peace baby gone crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool. So incredible. I bet they're doing double backflips.
Oh, yes.
They got to be so proud.
Is that them over there?
That's them,
oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. There they are, yes.
Good job.
That's so great, Madison. Well
Man, that's
done.
the best money you ever spent bribing that kid to go to FPU.
They never paid it, but
it was a carrot that was never eaten. We dangled the carrot and we never got the carrot.
I never went back for it.
Wow. There's got to be some kind of payback on that. I mean, there's something big. I'm just saying. Wow. That's so cool. Very, very cool. Man. So, I mean, you know how weird you are, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because, I mean, like all your friends.
Oh, gosh, yes. It's very odd talking to them now when they're all going into, it's the time of their life they're all buying houses. So having mine paid off.
You're like an old person or something.
Financial old person.
A financial old person.
Did you feel,
amazing.
Madison,
I can't get over this.
As a 22-year-old, 23, 24, 25, like during those early 20s, right? Did you feel like you were sacrificing a ton to do this? Like, would you look back and be like, it was really hard. There was stuff I wanted to do and I did it? Or are you like, I was just young and kind of still lived like I was in college and just
honestly
kept going?
That was the key to it is I lived on that income that I had already been living off of. I really didn't up what I was doing. Personally, I lived with my parents for longer, and I think that was the main sacrifice, was not moving out at the time that everyone else my age was. But that ultimately led to this.
So great. And that's one of the pros when we talk to young people that do this. Is there's this idea that, you came from college, you got out of college, and like you said, it's not like you had to go majorly backwards in lifestyle versus people that are doing it, in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, which is still great, but they feel this like, oh my gosh, I have to go backwards in what we are doing. We have to feel that sacrifice. But for you, you're like, I'm going to just stay consistent of how I've been living as a 21-year-old.
Chunk all the raises on it.
Which is such a pro. So young people listening, like it not only is it smart to do it as early as possible, but also I don't think you feel that like, oh my gosh, we used to do this and now I can't, because you're like, I'm still living like I'm 21 and I'm going to freaking pay off my house. So well done.
What's the house worth?
Now it's about 300,000.
About 300. Okay.
Great job.
Good for you.
That's awesome.
And you make $145,000 a year and you don't have a payment in the world.
Yep.
How does that feel?
It feels great. It feels great to be able to move to the next steps of life and not have that burden on my shoulders, and know that I will have that burden in the future.
So what was your degree in?
Economics.
So have you sat down and done the math of how rich you're going to be?
Yeah.
Because it's scary. It's scary.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's scary. If you start putting away like $3,000 or $4,000 a month right now, which would still leave you $100,000 to live on, I mean, you're going to have tens of millions of dollars. I mean, it's unbelievable how compound interest at 25 years old is going to blow up.
Yeah, I think we did the math based on right now if my income never changed, and it was about $30 million, just based on what I was investing.
I love it.
I wish we could
I love it.
put you in our pocket and travel America and just be like, Madison, go Madison.
Just you want one of these. This is what you want.
Madison, well done. It's such a mature move. I mean, it just speaks a lot to who you are and your character. And as a young person, you're like, man, you're just making really long-term decisions with your money, and and again, it's kind of that YOLO mentality that I feel like a lot of our generation lives in. And so it speaks a lot to you and who you are. So I just think it's absolutely incredible. And you're going to do incredible stuff with that money. That part of building wealth is to be able to be generous and help people. And I feel that off of you. I feel like you are just such a kind person. So I'm just so happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's great.
It's absolutely fabulous. Okay. So Gen Z and the millennials are listening. There's a poster child right here, 25 years old with a paid-for house. It's worth $300,000, making $148,000. We've done the math. It's going to be a $30 million minimum is where we're going to end up. And they look at you and they say, okay, how did you get out of debt? What is the key to getting out of debt?
Yeah. So I would say consistency, and then remembering to celebrate the little goals. My family and I actually built a paper chain around our office with $1,000 links. And so every time I paid off a certain amount, we would cut these links off. And then when we got to large milestones like 50,000, we would celebrate. I think that was really important to visualize the end goal and see it coming to fruition.
Yeah. You got to have that sense of traction is a psychological thing that you really can't get away from. You've got to have this sense of progress, this sense of traction, because otherwise to sacrifice, to live like no one else is just mentally ill. I mean, you're just doing it because it hurts. I mean, that's dumb, so you don't want to do that. You want to do it. It's okay if it hurts, but it hurts so that, I'm going to say no so I never have to say no. I'm going to live like no one else so that later I can live and give like no one else. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it yields a harvest of righteousness. You are incredible. What a hero. Thank you. Wow, that is so powerful. What a great, great lesson. I just wrote an op-ed that will be posted on Fox in about a week, I guess, and they had asked me to write about Gen Z and millennials and the number of them that are living off their parents' income. That are being supported by their parents still at 30 years old and 28 years old and this kind of stuff. And, of course, they were after me trashing them, and I don't trash Gen Z and millennials because I find too many of them like you. I got about 400 of them working here, and they're like you. And so to trash the entire generation based on a couple of participation trophy people it's irresponsible and not accurate. And so there's too many of them like you that are amazing. And so thank you. Thank you for standing up. You give old people great hope that America's going to be okay. People like you tell me it's going to be okay. We're going to be all right. There's a whole bunch of her out there, people. I'm just saying. Madison from Frederick, Maryland. We've got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires. I think we're going to have to do the billionaire version for you. But and Total Money Makeover for you as well, and Financial Peace University membership. You'll probably give all those away, but you may read the millionaire one if you haven't. So the Live and Give box just for you, saying thanks for coming all the way from Maryland. You are an impressive young woman. Absolutely fabulous. Madison from Frederick, Maryland, $148,000 paid off in 3 years, making $38 to $145. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt-free.
Woo! Yeah! House and everything at 25 years old. Just shut up. Wow. Amazing. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, 1 Corinthians 12:12. Just as a body, though one has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. Steve Jobs said, "Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people." This is true. Today's Ramsey Show question of the day is sponsored by Neighborly, your hub for home services. It's spring cleaning time, and Neighborly is the best place to find great services to help you spruce things up, like Molly Maid, The Ground Skies, and Junk King. Start your search for reliable experts near you at neighborly.com.
Today's question comes from Cindy in Nevada. I'm happy to say that we are enjoying Baby Step 7, building wealth and giving. I do have a few close friends who frequently criticize me for not having a credit card, only a debit card. They tell me I'm putting myself at high risk for fraud and that I am not protected. Can you please clarify how a debit card is safe? Well, this is a common misconception when it comes to credit card or to debit cards. So the best way to do it is when you run your debit card is to hit actually credit and sign your name versus hit debit and do your PIN number, because when you hit credit, it's not a credit card. It's still coming out of your account as a debit card, but it's run through the same system as it would a credit card. So you get all of the protections that a credit card would have, but you're having it with a debit card. So it is a safe. They will have the same protection policy with your debit card.
Yeah. And so Cindy,
Are you going to tell her to get new friends?
How to say this, yeah.
No, don't.
No, I'm not. But you are wealthy, you have no debt. You have control of your money. You're incredibly generous. You should be telling other people how to handle their money, not broke people telling you how to handle money.
That's good.
And so, they are not on a credible footing to tell you anything about anything money-wise. But here's the deal. If you want to, I don't argue with people like this. I just ignore them, but including the ones in my personal life. Okay. So it's just, whatever you want to do it. But if you personally want to understand, just go to visa.com or MasterCard.com. They have in their fine print that you can look in the card member agreement. There's a paragraph that says zero liability policy. And the zero liability policy says that in the event your card is misused, debit or credit, fraudulent transactions, you are responsible for zero. Period. They have a zero liability policy. The customer is not responsible in a debit card use with MasterCard or Visa in their own terms and conditions on their website, is not responsible for a penny. So you are zero at risk more using a debit card than you are using a credit card. That is absolutely false. It's mythology that the debit card is more dangerous. The only difference is if I use my debit card at a hotel and a hotel clerk steals the number, writes it down while they got my card or something, and then they go and buy something that night with it, and they run it, and my bank doesn't catch it, and it comes out of my account, it might be a day or two before they put the money back. That's the only difference. And I have never had that happen, and I have been using debit cards since the day they came out and have not had a credit card in 35 years. And I walk the earth just fine. And
I know we kind of rag on banks a lot, but I'll be honest, the bank I have with my debit card, they're so on it with fraud charges. Like they
wear me out.
Yes, but I like it because I'm like, thank you for at least being on top of it. And thankfully, none of it is. It's all my transactions.
Well, they wear you out because it's their money that they're going to lose.
Yeah, but they're at least on it. Most banks are on it, which is great.
Yeah, they're fraud algorithms on credit or debit. Most of us, and they're walking around in America today, get a call a week or a call every 2 weeks of some kind. Is this really your charge? And so, I have to tell them if I'm going out of the country. Sharon and I are going on vacation. Don't deny all our charges,
Which is good, though.
I know. But it's not the point. It's a pain in the butt. But that is because the bank knows that Visa and MasterCard says they are liable, not you. And so you are not at risk of losing substantial sums of money or any sum of money due to fraud or any kind of high-risk activity. So your friends are just wrong. It's that simple. They just don't know what they're talking about. Now, again, how forceful you want to be with that argument or how much you just personally want to be comfortable with the idea is fine. I have a bunch of friends that use a credit card and pay it off every month, and they have a lot of money, and they just, and some of them probably believe this crap, but I just don't have this discussion with them. I'm not going to talk to them about it. I carry a debit card. There's not a chance I have a credit card under any situation ever again. I am not going to ever be in debt, especially to a stupid bank. All right, Mary's with us in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, Mary, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you, Dave. How are you doing today?
Great. How can we help?
So I have a quick question. So I'm baby step 2, and I really want to pay off $60,000 worth of credit card debt that I have by the end of this year.
Good.
And yeah, that's the goal. So the question that I have is my husband, through his employer, he has 401k, and, he has been contributing on that. And I was wondering, should we just leave it as is, or should he not, so that we can go ahead and make more payments towards that debt that we have?
Yeah, well, you'll want to, pause that, and you're going to want to throw everything at this credit card debt. What caused you guys to go $62,000 in credit card debt?
Well, part of it was medical.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I've got 2 girls, and they were very sick.
I'm sorry.
So Yeah. Most of that. And like I said, we're on baby step 2, so I still have car loans to pay off and obviously the mortgage.
Hey, Mary,
but I really
Mary, here's the
take
thing.
Off those
when we are teaching the baby steps in the book, The Total Money Makeover, now, and when you hear us talk about this stuff, when we say baby step 2, 100% of the time, we tell everyone to stop all investing temporarily so you can exclusively focus on getting out of debt. And we also tell them to take every dime out of any non-retirement investments and non-retirement savings except for $1,000 and throw that at their debt snowball. How much do you have in savings?
So we've been throwing everything. So the only thing that I have is the $1,000 emergency fund.
You don't have any mutual funds or any savings account that is not that $1,000?
No, just the 401k that he has.
Good.
That's
Well, that part you have correct then. And then we would tell you, even though you're missing the match, it's a temporary thing. It's only for a year or less because you need to get out of debt. And we're totally focusing on the debt. So we're temporarily stopping. Now, that feels uncomfortable. It feels almost like you're missing out on free money and all that because I love a match on a 401k. I think it's wonderful. But right now, the power of focus, the power of all in, the power of passion for getting out of debt supersedes that match. So temporarily, and again, the word is temporarily. We're not doing this for very long, but for temporarily, we're going to stop all investing and attack this with a vengeance. Hang on, I'm going to have Austin send you a copy of the book, The Total Money Makeover. You and your husband read the whole book, and it'll show you exactly what to do with these baby steps. It's the handbook for baby steps. That's what it is. And it'll help you do that. So, good show today, Rachel.
Yep, it's been great. And tomorrow and the weekend will be so fun with Smart Conference.
Smart Conference on the Hill and live broadcast on the Hill at the Ramsey Event Center this weekend. And tomorrow we'll be doing the show from the stage there. Austin, Ben, James, Zach, and Andrew, good job in the booth. The booth dudes, they pulled it off again. That puts this hour in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, it's Rachel Cruz. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.